want to acknowledge the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force that recently was able to apprehend an individual in Idaho that had ISIS-related ties. It's exactly the type of things we need to do to keep Americans safe, and so thank you for your men and women for that. My first question is, if FISA were to expire, would our southern border be more or less secure?
I think if FISA were to expire, it adds one more challenge to our ability to secure us from foreign threats, including border-related threats.
I'll tell you, in my district, a lot of people talk about the border. I live the border. We are on the border every single day. So people throw rocks from afar. We're the ones that have to live it. My next question is, have there been any cases where the DOJ prosecutors chose not to prosecute a case that your agency, that your bureau identified as a significant threat to the homeland or community interests?
I can't think of a specific case as I'm sitting here right now. I will certainly tell you that disagreements between agents and prosecutors at the working level is something that happens. It's a healthy discussion that happens all the time when we think we have enough and the prosecutor doesn't think we have enough. I've seen that from both sides, having been a prosecutor too. But I don't have any specific case that I can think of that fits.
This is what I worry about, is we have a case teed up that has identified a security threat to either community or the homeland, and it doesn't go prosecuted, and something bad happens. And we look back and we see this. You know something's going to happen. It's only a matter of when, and I don't want us to be playing armchair quarterback. How do we get ahead of some of these issues? And I think there needs to be a closer relationship with the prosecutors and the agents on the ground.
One thing in that regard that we do, and I've seen a big change in the FBI since, again, I was somebody who was in FBI headquarters on 9/11, so I'm well familiar with a lot of this stuff. What I would say to you is today's FBI also works very closely with state and local prosecutors too. So
Sure.
If there's ever an instance where a charge in the state system is a better way to quickly disrupt an attacker, we're not shy about working with local prosecutors, not just federal prosecutors.
My next question, what is the FBI doing to combat the rise in transnational criminal organizations, specifically the Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua, TDA?
So we're certainly tracking that particular gang, TDA, as we would refer to it. We have Safe Streets Violent Gang Task Forces in all 56 of our field offices, which are focused specifically on gangs and other similar violent criminal enterprises. And that's the vehicle through which we are looking at TDA, whether it's leaders, members, associates. We have ongoing engagement with intelligence community partners, state and local law enforcement, in some cases foreign partners, looking at whether it's their drug trafficking, extortion, kidnapping for ransom, different kinds of violent crime, different kinds of trafficking and smuggling, even things like organized retail theft. So it's a real menu of different criminal activities.
I'd ask that you take a hard look at this, because very few people are talking about TDA right now. In 3 years, we're going to be talking about TDA no different than we're talking about MS-13. And it's going to be the communities that get ahead of it, that create these task forces, that utilize these task forces at the local, state, and federal level to combat these Venezuelan gangs. Once again, I live the border. We're year 4 of this. Year 4 is much different than year 1. The people that are coming over are different people. They're different actors. To that point, I was just out in West Texas. I did a swing through West Texas. I'm seeing a significant increase in oil theft in West Texas. All my sheriffs are asking for help. Are there any opportunities to expand the FBI oil field theft task force?
So absolutely, we're very proud of the work that our West Texas offices are doing in terms of the Permian Basin oil field task force. It's created due to the fact that I think something like 40% of the oil in the U.S. comes from the West Texas region. And so that task force, has not only state and local law enforcement participation, but we also have, which is a bit innovative, cleared oil field security personnel. Typically they're former law enforcement as well, but also on the task force. And it's a way to kind of track oil field crime, to ensure that investigations move as quickly and effectively as possible. It is a complex, in a form, it's a form of critical infrastructure threat, and it's something we're very focused on.
Director, this is a threat that I'm seeing is correlated directly to the open border. I'm seeing more and more foreign nationals, in particular Cubans, that are here illegally, that are operating in this space. And so we need to, once again, as this border crisis expands, we need to get ahead of this. And I'd ask that you consider taking a hard look at that oil field task force. With that, Chairman, I'm out of time and I yield back.